Good evening, everyone. How is everyone out there? Did I mention I have a new guitar? I think I did. Anyway, excuse me. As you can see, I have business to attend to. Bit of a result this week. I normally just order the supermarket own brand beer, but I've been pushed for time this week. And as I say, I ordered it, and well, we ordered it, the wife did, and we got a delivery, and this was a substitute. I got better beer in bigger tins for the same money. Result. Anyway, I'm just blethering away here while we kind of all get settled in. Cheers, everyone. First one of the day, first one of the week as well. I've been a good lad this week. So, yes. Excuse me. That went down the wrong way. So how's everyone doing? What sort of week you all had? And, you know, what's been going on in your world? You know very, very, very well what's been going on in my world, the old signature guitar. The wife bought us this T-shirt, by the way. Do you like it? She said, I thought this suits you. I think she's trying to tell me I'm a miserable so-and-so, but there you go. Let's see the guitar. Okay, yeah. Here it is. Hang on. There we go. Look at that maple top on that. That's catching the light particularly well at the moment. I did get a few people on the video that I did of this saying, can we see the headstock? Yes. As you can see, the headstock has no logos on it at the moment because we're still waiting for some of them to come back from the printers. I've got the logo for my signature. I've got that decal, and that'll be going on. And yes, I have, Bob. And but I want to wait until the Scott Guitars logo turns up as well. And then it'll all be going on, and it'll be properly finished. But I was impatient, you know. It's Dan said, you can have the guitar now, or you can wait until the decals arrive. I said, no, now please, want it now. So that's that, and it's only putting the decals on. I can handle that. Yes, it's a beautiful guitar. It feels very, very different to the Gordon Smith that I've been playing for, you know, forever, it seems. And picked it up the first time, thought, oh, hello, this is different. And, you know, just, you know, how you acclimatise to it. And then picked the Gordon Smith up yesterday. I thought, oh, yes. Now this, and that was the one that felt a bit different. It's remarkable how I've acclimatized to it. Well, you know, it is the sort of thing that it's what I specified, so it shouldn't take me that long, I suppose. But you know, just the difference in the feel of the two guitars, but it is absolutely stunning. I mean, I'm not going to crow on about it and gloat about it, but it's a lovely guitar. And if you're thinking about you know, kind of getting yourself something a bit special, then you do well to check one of those out. And then I won't put my salesman hat on anymore. Cheers, anyone. Yeah, I really like that with guitars, that they feel different from each other, both in the feel and the sound. Yeah, you know, I got to tell you, you know, people say I like a thin neck, or I like a thick neck, or I like this. I don't really have. Well, let's put it this way: I have a wide spectrum of preferences. The only thing I don't like on a neck is a really heavily cambered fretboard. So like an 80s kind of shred machine kind of thing. And I don't like, you know, like a skinny 80s shred kind of neck, Ibanez Wizard neck, that kind of thing. It's, you know, it's just not my taste. Who we got in, by the way? Let's have a look. Oh, Dan's in, the man himself. the guitar builder extraordinaire. He's in. Evening, Dan. Cheers, by the way. What draws me to Vanson pickups rather than, say, iron gear? Good question. The thing that most impresses me about those Vanson Classic 57 pickups is that when you, and I'm going to show my age here, coil tap them, as in turning them into single coils. I don't want to get into that whole debate about is it coil tap or is it coil split. Back when I was a young man, it was called coil tapping. Coil splitting is more of a modern term. Anyway, when you chop them in half and turn them into single coils, out of all of the humbuckers that I've tried that have that facility, those are the ones that sound most like regular single coil pickups. That's what drew me to the Vansons. They are cheap as chips. They are really kind of budget pickups, but they sound really good. They've got a lovely Alnico 2 kind of vintage PAF sort of sound, and then you chop them in half and you can get that Strat neck single coil tone for like Stevie Ray sort of stuff, or you can, the bridge pickup, just, you know, it'll do a Telecaster sound. You know, it's just a fantastic sounding coil split on those pickups. So that's why I chose them. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. Hi, John. Your shirt matches in the beer can. Colour coordination. You look so happy. Yes, indeed. I'm always happy on a Friday. I have beer. You know, it's the one time a week when I do try and keep the beer to the Fridays, and really look forward to it. It's like you know, that little highlight of the week, as well as sitting here talking to you lads as well, you know, lads and lasses. You're a natural born messer, are you, Ozzy? Yeah, Ozzy. By the way, that Sonicake rock stage that that you keep mentioning, keep your eyes open for a review of one of those coming soon. I've been looking at them and pretty impressed, just waiting for one to turn up. There's another thing that's turning up. There's a mystery guitar turning up. You know that budget brand, Glary? They've agreed to send me a guitar, but they didn't have the sort of butterscotch blonde Telecaster in stock that I was wanting to review. And so they said, which other one do you want? And I said, well, surprise me. Send me any right-handed 6-string electric guitar and I'll happily review it. And then that'll be going on to Zoe's place, maybe with a few modifications. Yes, Saji, I am. I'm like a kid who's got his Christmas present. You know, as I say, it's a touching thing, really, that you know, that somebody thinks, well, Dan thinks highly enough of what I do on YouTube that he wants to use me as his kind of you know, almost as his spokesman, I guess. So somebody saying there something about Harley Benton's, but I missed it. Let me something. Somebody saying, do I still have all me Harley Benton's? No, I don't. Some of them I kind of kept. Well, I've got 3 Harley Bentons. I've got the Dreadnought Acoustic. I've got the CST 24, and I've got the black Gilmore Strat copy thing up there. Those are the only Harley Bentons I've got now. Lusted After Guitars video, great stuff. I always favoured Strats. My number one is a Telly. Yep, this is it. This is the point. I don't know if I did that video in a bit of a hurry. So I don't know if the point came across really well. Is that you know, the guitars that I lusted after and kind of coveted and really wanted, you know, going back over a few decades. None of them bear any relationship to the guitar that I've sort of settled on as being my ideal guitar now. And, you know, it's just a case of, you know, buy the guitar that's right for you. That's not necessarily right for you know, who you admire. You know, it's a fun journey finding out what your tastes are, but you know, you kind of start to get to realize what it is you like. I mean, I remember the first time I picked up a Telecaster, it was like suddenly I'd come home. You know, it was like, okay, yeah, this just feels like it's my guitar, you know. Hence my my kind of, excuse me, my taste for Telecaster shaped guitars. Picked up your Harley Benton SC Custom the other day to learn Welcome to the Jungle. Mostly grabbed me Harley Benton Strat right away. Yep, this is it. What I've wanted for the longest time is a guitar that does a good, fat, full-on bridge humbucker Les Paul tone and a good Telecaster tone, like Telecaster bridge pickup tone. So a bridge humbucker and a bridge Telecaster tone, that's a tall order out of the same guitar. A good single coil neck pickup sound, a good neck humbucker sound, and a nice kind of mixed single coil tone and that Peter Green tone. And you know, a lot of guitars have come very close, but you know, the signature one is the only one that's really kind of got it. And it's, you just kind of narrow down what your tastes are over the years, you know, and what it is that floats your boat, and you know, and then you find a guitar that does it. Yeah, those Harley Benton TE20s are absolutely brilliant guitars. I bought one as a gift for a good friend of mine who plays guitar. Do you remember back in May when I had to cancel a live stream that Friday because the dog was really ill and we didn't know if he was going to pull through, and I just wasn't in the frame of mind to do a live stream, and I was back and forth to the vets, and it was a bank holiday weekend, so it was like the emergency vets. And Kev, the lad who was taking us back and forwards to the vets, and you know, just saying, just you know, anytime, day or night, let me know when you need us. I bought him that TE20 just as a little thank you, and it's a lovely guitar. You know, I mean, yeah, its pickups are a bit sort of cheap sounding, but you know, they get the job done. And I'm thinking, maybe there might be one of those on, because it's essentially, it's cheaper than buying a kit guitar, really. Evening, Craig. Thank you, Craig. What do you think about the opinion that you should always practice standing up? Don't know. Practice the way you're comfortable. I must admit, I sit down because most of my guitar playing, if not all of it, is in here. Sat down, you know, playing these days. Let me just calm this light down a little bit. It's looking a bit glaring off me noggin. There we go. That's a little bit better. I play sitting down most of the time, and on the rare occasions when I have to stand up, it doesn't feel like it's a big adjustment. I think it all depends on what length you have your strap. If you're one of these guys who likes to have the guitar down here, kind of in the old rock and roll, swinging down by your knees kind of stance, then yeah, it is a big adjustment. But I notice that I tend to naturally have the strap so that the guitar hangs at the same height, whether I'm sitting up, standing up, or sitting down. So it doesn't really make any odds to me. It's new beer today. Yes, as I said earlier at the beginning of the stream, maybe you missed it. We got a grocery delivery, and I normally just order Morrison's Export Lager, but there was a substitution on the order, and they sent me pint cans of Carlsberg Export for the same price. Result. Yeah, those Blade Durangos, they were, I mean, I remember first seeing a review of one of those Levinson Blade guitars in the 80s, and it was just, I think the guy in who was reviewing it, it was in Guitar Player magazine, the American one, and the guy playing it was saying this is for the Strat what PRS is for the Les Paul, you know. And then didn't they hook up with Patrick Eggle? You know, they did you know, some kind of collaboration with them. I seem to remember. Has anybody tried to practice not making strange faces when soloing? That's something I have to kind of be aware of when I'm. You'll notice that you don't see my face in many of the guitar solo videos these days. Oh yes, by the way, I've forgotten, haven't I? I normally give you a bit of a rundown of what's happening on the channel this week. Well, let me get right to it before I forget. Tomorrow morning, or tomorrow lunchtime rather, because it's going live at noon UK time, there is a little bit of a look at a Peter Green style solo, using like, and basically kind of looking at the Peter Green guitar tone. Then Monday we are looking at an absolutely classic but highly underrated guitar solo courtesy of Elliot Easton, and it might be just what you needed. There's a hint. Tuesday, we're looking at another one of these Why I Love This Album videos, and that's possible. Well, I've got one of two in mind. I haven't decided what yet, but both of them feature a certain Mr. Roger Hodgson. There's two albums that feature him that I'm very, very keen on. Wednesday, I'm starting a new series of videos. We're going to be looking at kind of the different levels of blues guitar playing. So we're going to start off with like basic blues lead guitar playing. So we're going to look at, you know, starting off kind of playing with a basic pentatonic. Then the following week, it's going to kind of get a little bit more advanced and a little bit more advanced until it's kind of going all kind of, you know, kind of jazzy and advanced at, you know, whenever we get round to that. So there you go. Then Thursday, I'm going to be looking at, I think I'm going to do the video I meant to do this week, which is my first recording rig. We're going to take a look at that. Possibly. These are all subject to change. Well, that one is at least. But that's kind of roughly what I got planned for the channel this week. Where are we? Why I Man? Yes, I know. Whenever I say why I love this album, it always comes out a bit Geordie, doesn't it? Just ordered a Brian May 75 Harley Benton copy. What do you think of them? Never played one, but I've one of my students, actually, Joe. You know Joe, the guy who bought me the Nashville Deluxe Telecaster. He had one. I don't know if he's still got it, but he had one, and he was absolutely singing its praises to the rooftops. A beautiful neck, he was saying on it. Thing is, if I got one of those, I would end up just going full Brian May on it, you know, and doing all the kind of, because it's not wired exactly the same way as a Brian May guitar, so you can't get like all the in phase and out of phase sounds, and it's not like the pickups aren't series wired like on Brian May's guitar. So I would probably end up going down a bit of a rabbit hole trying to kind of replicate that. Yes, Mark Knopfler, Why I Man, great song. Yeah, uses the theme for Auf Wiedersehen, Pet, or the reboot of it back 15 years or so ago. Do I like P90s? Yes, I do. That's why there is a, well, you can't see it, but there's a Telecaster with a P90 in the neck position back there that I regularly use for slide. I would say that the pickup that I like a little bit better than a P90 is a Filtertron, though. Have you any experience of Rivera amps? I played through one at a gig. DMA 25, no, mid to late 90s, so 20 odd years ago. And it was just one of these gigs where there was a bunch of different bands on the bill, and you know, there was gear being shared, like the drummer was like different drummers playing on the same kit, and kind of everyone was using pretty much the same backline. And I used one then, and gotta say, was quite impressed. You have a Brian May brand guitar, do you, Malcolm? Is it any good? I expect it is, because, you know, I can't imagine Brian would put his name to, you know, something made of plywood, bubblegum and snot. But, you know. Yes, I did mention that Dave 61. That was a little bit of British sarcasm there, mate. Any thoughts on lace sensor pickups from the late 80s? They're fantastic pickups, absolutely fantastic pickups. And I suspect there was some kind of office politics involved in the reason why Fender stopped putting them in the guitars. But a pal of mine back in the 90s had a Squier Strat. Don't ask me what model, what year it was or anything like that, but it was like an Olympic white Squier Strat. And he put a set of lace sensors in it. I think it was the blue one at the bridge he put in, which is like a PAF kind of sounding pickup. And I think the other two were like silver and gold, but I can't remember which way around they were. But what a sound he used to get out. It was like, it was still identifiably a Strat in every position. Do you know what I mean? But it just had that extra girth and clarity. They're fantastic pickups. Where are we? Any tips for being stuck in a rut with a guitar? Seem to be playing the same shite over and over. Yeah, learn a new technique. You know, it might all just kind of learn a new chord sequence to play over, and, you know, figure out how you're going to play that, or take some familiar licks that you know really well and figure out how to play them elsewhere on the neck. Imagine, like I've mentioned this many, many, many times now, imagine you've got a really horrible guitar like I had when I first started that keeps snapping strings, and you need to play those licks, you know, on a different part of the neck because you need to find the notes. It teaches you the fretboard, and it teaches you maybe a different way of playing. You know, maybe when you move the lick to a different part of the neck, that note that you were bending has to become a slide or a hammer-on or something like that. So it just, things like that just kind of give you a slightly different take on, you know, what you're doing. That's a good idea for a video, isn't it? Rut busters. So are you using CTS pots? Yes. Got the May guitar, wanted some different tones, everything started sound the same. Well, fair enough. Oh, yeah, I mean, Martin Booth, you mentioned there, mate. Yeah, that's another guitar. This sort of guitars that I lusted after video. There's another one, at least another one of those in the pipeline, because one guitar that I really, really, really wanted back in about 1988 when I saw the review of it in Guitarist magazine was the Yamaha MSG, which was designed by Martin Booth. And, you know, I really, really wanted one of those. Okay, Sean, I didn't know that. I didn't know that they had to change that because of possible litigation. Fair enough. Yes, we're having a discussion here about budget guitars from the 70s and 80s, aren't we? Hondo 2. Yes, now that was the guitar to aspire to back when, because when I was like 14, 15, you took it for granted that you'd never own a Fender or a Gibson. So you just wanted something that was like a good guitar that was within reach, and there was this series of guitars that Hondo made called the Hondo Rainbow, which was like a Les Paul copy, as I remember. I can't remember if it was a set neck or bolt on. It was probably a bolt on neck. A Hondo Rainbow, and they were like done in sort of day glow colours like bright blue and bright green and bright pink and bright yellow. And they were kind of quite the guitar to aspire to back when I was a young lad. Yeah, Craig, Music Man guitars. I mean, I was lucky enough back in about 1990 to go to a Guitarist magazine show. Because Guitarist magazine back then, they used to have the guitar shows. It was like a little mini NAMM. And this one, I think, was at Manchester Polytechnic. And Albert Lee was there. And it was like even before they'd kind of brought out the Albert Lee signature model. He was still just playing a Music Man Silhouette then. And, met him in the bar as well and had a bit of a natter to him. Really, really top bloke. And played a Silhouette on the Music Man stand. And it was just like, yeah, all guitars should be built this way. Do you know what I mean? There was just that air of, kind of quality about it. And back then, I think a Music Man Silhouette in 1990 was an expensive guitar back then. It was about £800-900. Stevie's in. Steve Hoggart, how are you, Steve? Are you still beer free, mate? Dear me, you may have noticed I'm not. Ale-free-ish Friday. Well, yes. As soon as you put ish on the end, isn't it? It covers a multitude of sins. So anyway, where are we? Let's have a look at the chat. It can't get too much about the guitar unless about what you can do with it. As long as it plays, you're okay. Yep. I'll go with that. Aria Pro 2. Yes. Violin finish. Yeah, again, Aria Pro 2. The first time I saw an Aria Pro 2 guitar, does anyone remember a book by Ralph Denyer called The Guitar Handbook? I've had several copies of that, and I don't know where the last copy is that I bought. I lent it out and never got it back. But there was, in the original version back that I saw in the early 80s, it had a foreword by Andy Summers, as in of the Police. And in like the photo that was there, he was sat there cradling this Aria Pro 2 guitar. And I thought, what's that? I've never seen one of those before. Yeah, so that was the first time I saw them. And they were quite the sort of prestigious guitar. And then they weren't. They suddenly started just being, kind of budget guitars. You have that book, do you, Chris? Yes. So I'm talking about guitar books. Where is it? Oh, it's over there somewhere. Another book that I regularly still read is the Ultimate Guitar Book, Tony Bacon. What a book that is. It's just, I mean, it's my missus calls it my guitar porn. She says, "Are you reading your porn again?" I said, "Yes." But there's some absolutely gorgeous things in there. Are you out? Are you rehearsing again, Steve? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember the preamp build, Steve. Oh, yes, that's talking about amp builds. Um, there was a suggestion on the stream last week that I do an amp build, and yeah, I've been looking into the price of some of the kits. I think we're going to have to wait until the festive season is out of the way, because as you can imagine, not many people come for guitar lessons over the Christmas period, so income starts to kind of tail off a little bit. You know, you kind of scribble a little bit away just to kind of allow for that. But any kind of expenditure like that might raise an eyebrow with the boss, basically. Can you do a beginner's bottleneck video? I already have, mate. If you just search John Robson slide guitar or something like that, you'll find it. I've done a couple actually. The most recent one, I think, was last year sometime. I put that up. So just kind of just search John Robson guitarist, bottleneck or slide guitar, and you'll find that. What is the new guitar? Yes, sorry, guys. Anybody that's a bit sick of hearing about this, but somebody has asked. This is the new guitar. It is my signature model guitar, courtesy of Scott Guitars, a brand new UK guitar builder. So brand new that their website is really just kind of just a placeholder at the moment. We're going to be looking at, or Dan's going to be looking at getting the website updated and kind of a little bit refreshed regularly from now on. But but yeah, brand new guitar company. They've made me a signature guitar, and I'm very happy with it. The only guitar book I've owned since the early 60s is Bert Whedon's Playing a Day. Yes, so many people started off with Bert Whedon, didn't they? I actually had one of his albums back in the 70s at some point, because it was he was like the guitarist you'd heard of. I remember seeing him on an episode of an old 70s light entertainment variety program called the Wheel Tappers and Shunters Social Club, and he played like all of his hits like Guitar Boogie Shuffle and stuff like that. And just seems like a really nice guy. I mean, he's sadly no longer with us. Do you remember Vinnie Moore? Yes, I do. One of his albums is probably one of my favourite 80s shred guitar albums, which is a pretty short list, it has to be said. Time Odyssey by Vinnie Moore. Imagine Yngwie Malmsteen with a sense of taste. I mean, apologies to any Yngwie Malmsteen fans out there, but this is just it's a fantastic album full of virtuoso neoclassical guitar, but it's like he never loses sight of the fact that he's playing a tune and melody is important. And there's an incredible version of While My Guitar Gently Weeps on there. There's a social club head on that beard. Yes, there is. I do apologise. You wouldn't think I used to be a barman, would you? So anyway, Vinnie Moore, the master of the Mixolydian. Yes, he is fond of the Mixolydian mode. He's a mate of mine saw him a few years ago, actually, because he's playing, or he was then, I don't know if he still is, but he's currently the guitar player with UFO, or the current incarnation of UFO, which I suspect is just Phil Mogg plus, a rotating door of session musicians. But yeah, he's at least recently, he's the guitar player for UFO. I used to live in Weedon in Northamptonshire. It was a party house. The village had a petition to get rid of us, so we all signed it. Yeah, that brings back memories. I was at college in the Lake District in the 80s, in a little market town called Ambleside. And, the start of term, when we all kind of arrived in the town, I remember the bin men came round one morning just after we'd kind of all arrived, and they saw the empties in the bin, and they said, "Hello, the boys are back in town," which just made me chuckle. Dan, you're good at drinking beer. I think I will start to practice that myself. Yes, it's a talent. You're that you don't get a body like this without being good at this. Anyway. Big Jim Sullivan and the Rollers. Yes, big. Now there was a guy. I mean, again, sadly no longer with us, but Patrick Eggle did a signature guitar of his. That's another one that's on my second guitars I lusted after video. The Patrick Eggle Big Jim Sullivan signature model. What a player he was. Have you tried the Blue Boss synth guitar pedal? No, I haven't. No, I've been looking at. I watch a lot of. I don't watch a lot of anything at the moment on YouTube. I don't have the time, but when I do get a chance to watch YouTube, there's a guy called Guy Mitchellmore who I watch a lot of, and he's often talking about orchestral libraries that he uses to compose. He's a composer, basically. He's like a mad professor, or that mad teacher you used to have at school. And he's always talking about, kind of these plugins that he uses and what have you. And he's playing a keyboard a lot, all of the time, really, to kind of demonstrate this stuff. And I'm thinking either I should learn to play keyboards, or I should get like a MIDI controller for guitar. So I'm thinking that might be something I might be looking into come next year. Okay, Colin, I shall do that, mate. I shall pass that on to Dan. Dan, if you're still on the stream, mate, I'll put you in touch with Colin. Again, the both of you are your top lads, and that would be, that would be great all round, wouldn't it? Evening, Sean. How are you, mate? Thoughts on the Squassic? You can tell I've had a beer. Thoughts on the Squire Classic Vibe Cabronita, John? There's a Fiesta red one, Stephen James guitar. I've not played one, mate, but if it's Telecaster shaped, then I'm sort of predisposed to kind of give it a positive hearing, I suspect. I do like Telecaster guitars. You might have noticed. Yes, I remember. I remember Cliff Mitchellmore, Jason. Yeah, I looked at Guy's videos. A lot of Guy Mitchellmore, a lot of his stuff goes over my head. But do you remember that Halloween kind of spooky thing I did a couple of weeks ago for Halloween? More 3 weeks ago, was it? That idea came from one of his videos. What's for dinner tonight, John? I have spent the most of the day today creating a big batch cook of chicken curry. So that's what we're having for dinner tonight. Oh, cheers, Sean. As I say, I'm thinking about kind of getting a keyboard, but it's like, yeah, maybe that might be a learning curve too far. It's like it's the time it would take to kind of get some keyboard chops. Since we can't go just about everywhere, how about a travel guitar vid? Yeah, I've looked at that. I've looked at that idea before, but it's the thing that's put me off is the price. You know, there are just so there's a few of them out there, but for a guitar that is going to be a very, very, very niche market that you're going to use kind of once in a blue moon, the prices on them are just, you know, a bit steep. Half Man, Half Biscuit have a brilliant album named after where you used to. Where's that? Ambleside. Yeah, I mean, I used to half Man, Half Biscuit. Yeah, they were. Didn't they do the Len Ganley Shuffle? You know, yeah, Len Ganley, the famous snooker referee. We're getting really kind of nerdy on that one, aren't we? You gone full George Lucas on your latest vid. Tell you what, Ozzy, as usual, or anybody else for that matter, if you've got a YouTube vid that you're putting up, then just put it in the comments after this has gone, you know, kind of archived or whatever, you know, after the live stream is over. Just put it in the comments. And, you know, every little helps, as they say. So if I can just get a few more viewers your way. How about the video of the sights and attractions of Stockton? Saying that it will be a short video. Now, I don't live in Stockton, mate. You know, Stockton's 2 bus rides away from me, which might as well mean it's at the other end of the country. Thank you, Arriva buses. Yeah, I was thinking about doing like a video of, like, you know, kind of where I live or something like that. But it's just thinking, like, would anybody watch it? You know. Do you want a half-decent Casio keyboard with MIDI in and out for free, John? If it's for free, Sean, then I'm not going to turn it down, mate. Thank you. Yes. There'll be a lesson in that for you, mate. John, have you ever played Guitar Hero? The last video game I played was, I think, Asteroids, and that was in about 1980 or 81, and I didn't really see the point, and I've never been lured back to the world of video games. So there's your answer. Stockton, 10 minutes in the Wobbly Goblin. David Attenborough can do the voiceover. Yes, we'll probably end up talking about the Bongo Club at some point, won't we? Yes, no, there's a Teesside institution, the Bongo Club. Okay, Anton, right, well, I might just do that then. I might just fire up the old video camera on my phone and take you for a tour around Redcar at some point. I was better on Guitar Hero than on real guitar. Yes, well, you know, it's I don't know. It's for all the people who used to kind of pose in front of the mirror with tennis rackets, wasn't it? You know. Having said that, you know, each to their own. You know, if I don't get video games, it's just at the end of the day, I just can't escape the notion that all I'm doing is moving pixels around a screen. And it just once you've got that mindset, it becomes like, well, nah. I mean, the latest one, there's an advert on the telly at the moment for like a video game where you can actually, you know, kind of spend 400 quid on technology to have a game of darts. Well, why not just get a dartboard, you know? Where are we? I kind of picked up, sorry, if I'm going silent, I'm just reading the chat. I kind of picked up Reaper on the fly. YouTube videos are the answer. Yes, Ozzy, mate, you're not wrong there. I was a cakewalk user for many, many, many years, and I kind of got used to it, and I knew where everything was. And when you know all the keyboard shortcuts, and your workflow is really fast with a system that you know. And then I went to Reaper, and it took a little bit of adjustment, but I wouldn't go back now because there's just so many resources out there and free stuff and free tutorials for Reaper that it's the one that I always recommend. Yes, Johnny, I bought Power Up this week, the new AC/DC album, and I gotta say, it's a classic AC/DC album. It's rock or bust. I was a bit meh about, to be honest with you. Black Ice was a good album, but this, I think, Power Up is. I mean, Brian Johnson. I mean, he's sounding as good as he did on Back in Black, I think. Fantastic classic AC/DC album. If you don't have it, go on Spotify it, or kind of stream it, or even better, pay for a copy of it because it's worth it. Any opinion on Ibanez art cores? I got a sweet green one recently. Love it. Well, good for you, mate. Not played one, but again, show me a bad review for an Ibanez guitar. Show me anybody who's, kind of had an Ibanez guitar that hasn't liked it. Well, actually, that would be me. I had an Ibanez RG something or other in the 90s, and it fell victim to my kind of my love-hate relationship, which is now just a hate relationship with their locking trems. But that aside, I mean, it was a fantastic guitar. Are there any minor chords in Power Up? It's an AC/DC album, Ozzy. What do you want? Are you in COVID lockdown? Yes, the UK is currently in lockdown until December the 2nd. But I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, he's got his ears back, hasn't he? Yes. I saw an interview with him where he was talking about some guy, some doctor or something, basically invented a hearing aid for him. So, improvisation or learnt stuff? What's your preference? I love improvising. But then again, I don't think that I don't think it's like a binary thing, kind of improvising or learning something on the fly, or playing something, or learning something kind of and kind of working it out. I think there's a spectrum. I think it's like you can have certain key moments in a solo that you're going to do this at that point, or that at another point, and you improvise your way between them. Or you can just kind of completely wing it, or you can there's a spectrum there. And I've got to tell you, most of my solos are somewhere in the middle. It's kind of, I'll have certain little bits that I know I want to kind of hit, and then just kind of wing it as a way of connecting them together. Are you taking any notice of it? I always abide by the law. How's your vinyl collection? Some of my 80s, 90s stuff is worth quite a bit all of a sudden. I sold all of my vinyl. I got rid of it all. And this is years ago. I mean, back in the late 80s when, you got to have it on CD. Have you not got it on CD? You should get that on CD. Get it on compact disc. And I did. I replaced all my vinyl on compact disc, little album by album, little by little. And then, there were these ads in the local Evening Gazette for people who would come and pay you silly money for your vinyl. So sold it. You know, I think I ended up making a profit on it as well. You know, you see, I'm not a vinyl. I'm not a vinyl junkie by any stretch. I lived through the misery of vinyl the first time around. You know, I'm in no hurry to kind of relive that. You know, where you you know, where you had to blue tack a 2 pence piece onto the top of the needle to stop it jumping off the out of the groove, and then, oh dear me, yes, I'm going to have to buy that album again because I've worn it out. You know, every time you listen to a vinyl album, you're consuming it, and it degrades a little bit every time. And there is the fact as well that, you know, I've done a hearing test recently where I've lost a lot of the high frequencies in my hearing. I just have, you know. I don't notice it. Music doesn't sound any less, you know, kind of hi-fi or pristine when I listen to it. But, you know, kind of there are certain frequencies that just aren't there in my ears anymore. So you got to think, well, what's the point? You know, I just listen to, I mean, as long as it's a decent high bitrate MP3, then it sounds good enough for me. And that's, you know, that's as, you know, as far as I'm prepared to go. I did try going for that that new or reasonably new codec a few years ago, that FLAC, that FLAC codec, where it's supposedly supreme hi-fi quality. Couldn't hear any difference between that and the 320k MP3. So, you know, that's all I use these days. Yes, I remember the floppy records in the magazines and books. I mean, a lot of my musical tastes in the 80s were shaped by those flexi discs that used to come in Guitarist magazine, Guitar Player magazine. Excuse me, more beer. I'm taking longer tonight to get through these because the pint cans. I think most of the excellent of the vinyl was in the gatefold sleeve, the artwork and the lyrics. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I've described this before, you know, kind of that bus journey home from the record shop, you know, where you kind of reading the album sleeve. That was an experience that I do miss. But, you know, that's what Wikipedia is for, isn't it? Yeah, Top of the Pops records go for good money. Yes, they were fantastic. The first time I ever heard an Elton John song, a David Bowie song, I beg your pardon. I'll tell you why I got confused with Elton John in a moment. But the first time I heard a David Bowie song was "Life on Mars," but it was the Top of the Pops version. You know, the kind of cover band version. Anyone outside the UK who doesn't know what we're talking about, back in the 70s, there used to be these cover version albums that were marketed under the brand name Top of the Pops. And Elton John, before he was Elton John, when he was still kind of Reginald Dwight, used to play as a session musician on them. And here's a trivia fact for you. Did you know that the cover version of Bohemian Rhapsody actually charted in Italy? That it was released as a single in Italy. A guy called Tony Rivers did all of the vocals on that part, on that version. Fantastic session singer, and you know, he did. As I say, that actually became a single in Italy, and I might be wrong, but I think it might have got higher up their hit parade than the Queen version. The cover version, John, not sure what you mean. If you had to endorse a beer, what would it be? Well, my favourite tipple, it has to be said, is Theakston's XB, but it has to be on a hand pull. It's never the same when you drink it out of a bottle. It's the same with any cask conditioned ale. They're never the same when you get them, you know, from like a home pack or anything like that. It doesn't work. But you know, if I'm in my ideal situation is sitting by a roaring fire in a country pub, game of darts, and plenty of Theakson's XB. You also have to have a system that can handle the increased quality of FLAC. Yeah, well, I had quite a high spec system at the time. It was can't remember the name. It was Mordant short speakers, and I can't remember the amp, but it was like some kind of esoteric hi-fi amp. Can't remember what it was, but it was like good gear, you know. You'll go for Adnam's broadside, fair enough. Thiggy's OP on draft, yeah. Again, all peculiar. That's loopy juice, though. That isn't it? It's not a session drink. You know, if I'm wanting to kind of leave this planet quickly, as it were, then I'll always go for spotty chicken, you know, old speckled hen. What's happening to the focusing? And no, I'm not on beer. It's probably my face. Oh, Tim's in. Yes, we've been on a while, haven't we, Tim? Ever had a pint of Doom Bar, John? No, I can't say I have. It was Denon. That's it, Cod. It was a Denon amp, Mordant short speakers, and I was using this little media player that, again, you'll have to remind me. You'll have to run a few names past me, but it was a media player that was about the size of a CD player, like a CD Walkman, but it wasn't a CD player. It was a media player. And that used to be able to play back FLAC. Used to be able to drink broadside at the pub for free. I won't mention, just because the landlord liked my music. Well, fair enough, mate. Good for you. Anyway, I'm going to take this downstairs and go and eat some curry now, because I'm getting a bit peckish. Once again, thank you everyone for turning up. It has been an absolute blast, as always. Really, really humbled that a bunch of people, where are we? Nearly 200 people at the moment, turn up to watch a fat lad drink beer and talk rubbish for an hour. Much appreciated, guys. But for now, until tomorrow, I'm going to say, time, gentlemen, please.